ever kiss me? You farted. You farted so violently. Oh my god, it reeks. Oh my god.
You stinky little baby boy.
You stinky little baby boy.
Oh, stinky, 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 sneezy babies.
Hello and good morning. How are we all doing? If you see my hairy legs or my fupa, no you don't. Happy Monday. It is early in the morning. I am currently dog sitting and the dogs woke me up at 3 a.m. to pee and then again at 5 a.m. to stay awake. So safe to say I am not doing well. Although I did lose sleep, what I didn't lose is reading time because guess what, bitch? I already finished a book and it's only like 7:30. Today is just going to be a weekly reading vlog, sort of a mood reading vlog. It's been raining for the past 72 hours and we had daylight savings yesterday, so the sun sets at 4 p.m. So I'm depressed, so I'm gonna read to cope. Reading vlog. Oh, I feel like there's someone behind me. I can't see anything. This is a wide angle and I'm scared. I don't know what was that. I have 2 books that I'm reading. I did a weekend readathon, basically like a 48-hour readathon over the weekend. Hence, weekend readathon. Honestly, what I would say about specifically the fiction book of the 2 is exactly what I said yesterday because I wrote it down in my phone notes. Fast forward to today, I did in fact finish My Husband by Maud Ventura. This was a whirlwind of a fucking read and I cannot recommend it enough. Add this to your crazy girl fiction, add this to your weird girl fiction, add this to your unhinged main character, unhinged female main character, TBR. Although I say that I do need to caveat that this is definitely not going to be everyone's cup of tea. However, heavily my cup of tea. I was sipping this shit like there was no tomorrow. Essentially, it's about, until the end, she's unnamed. An unnamed main character who is just going through this downward spiral. This constant, I don't even know if downward spiral, it's just like a consistent spiral about her husband, and then there's a big twist at the end. I said in that clip from yesterday that I didn't understand how this was going to be thriller-y because it's kind of grouped into that genre. I do see a little bit at the end. I don't know that you can consider a book a thriller just because the last 5 pages include a bit of a plot twist. The rest of the book itself wasn't like a mystery thriller in my opinion. It was a character study and focused on one character and her experiences. I don't really have too many other thoughts from what I already said yesterday other than, like I said, there is that little plot twist at the end that kind of was like, whoa, this is crazy, and you'll be able to see how calculated everything and everyone is, which was a very interesting thing to find out at the end. The other book that I'm reading is Quarter Life. I honestly have not read any more of this morning from what I said yesterday. I think I can get a pretty good chunk done in 30 minutes. However, with nonfiction, it does take me a little longer because I pause a lot, I highlight, I take notes, I tab. Other than those, I do need to pick out a new fiction book. Rewind. I do have a fiction book, audiobook, that I also talked about in my weekend readathon vlog. Hey, I read Crave by Tracy Wolff and I ended up enjoying it, which is so annoying because I was like, I'm not this kind of girl. I am. I love these sort of, I was going to say trashy, but that feels mean because I don't think it's trashy, but these very over the top young adults, just strictly for the pleasure of reading it. I'm not getting anything intellectual or nuanced from it. It just is simply for the plot, both the book and the experience. So I read that and I ended up enjoying it. And I own the first book, Crave, but I don't own any of the rest in the series. Going into that book, I did not think I was going to continue the series. However, baby, you guessed that I am. I decided that I don't need to buy any more physical books. I can focus on listening through audio or renting from the library, both of which I'm doing. They're big books and I just don't have space, especially if I'm going to move when my lease is up in March. So we got to remain calm. However, I do feel a certain level of guilt for not reading the books that I physically own and instead reading books that I don't own. But we have to make sacrifices. Okay, I need to know what happens. I will say I'm about 20% of the way in. I've been listening strictly on audio, which I don't love doing just because my brain wanders so much. But I rented the ebook and physical book, and whichever comes in first I'll take, and the other one I'll just cancel my hold. I have not gotten either. So I cannot wait, and it's been really good as just a fluffy audiobook to listen to while I'm doing dishes or walking the dogs or doing whatever I gotta do. So I have been listening to that. It is so cheesy. It is so cliche. Especially in this book, I've noticed there's a lot of modern day, current times references that kind of throw me for a loop loop with the fact that I'm reading about dragons and vampires, and then the next second they're talking about like Watermelon Sugar by Harry Styles and using the phrase AF. This book definitely isn't going to be for everyone. If you get annoyed, if you have no interest in very youthful kind of writing, I wouldn't recommend it. However, if you're looking for something that's super easy to digest and super fast paced and super easy to understand, there's not really much world building. It's basically just, oh, I wonder what's happening. Oh, here's the answer. That is a fiction book that I'm listening to. However, it's not my priority. I do have like 12 different physical books that I brought with me because plot twist, everyone. I think I actually already mentioned this, so it's not a plot twist. I lied. I'm dog sitting. This is not, in fact, my house. I don't own a house. I don't plan to own a house because it's too expensive, baby. I like to typically sandwich either 2 nonfictions with a fiction or just 1 nonfiction and 1 fiction so that I can rotate just depending on what my brain needs at that moment. As I kind of briefly mentioned before, I am very much a mood reader. But yeah, once I make a dent into quarter life, I'll probably pick another fiction book and then I'll let you guys know what it is and we'll get her started. It's a spooky ookie cookie day. I'm feeling a little out of whack. It's election day, which obviously, as we all know, is scary for a lot of people for a lot of reasons. So I'm feeling a little off kilter there. I don't have to go in the polls and actually vote because I did an absentee ballot. I'm gonna do a face mask while we're talking about this, which is probably gonna limit my ability to talk, but maybe I need that so I don't yap too long. Oh yeah, this is a stupid idea. I don't know why. Oh, I did the wrong side too. I don't know why I decided to do this. And I'm gonna look like Dwight in that one episode of The Office. I'm planning to just hunker down in the house today. It's also pouring rain. Okay, switching to a voice memo. Sorry, it's probably annoying that I'm just holding my phone all the time. Let me give you my reading update because I have a few. My boss just texted me, bingo. Oh shit, I have music playing. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, Adrian Linker started playing and my brain was like, hey. Oh my god, this upper lip piece, what's happening? I just need to talk like this. I did start a new book, but let me talk about what I've continued. Quarter Life, still obsessed with it, still loving it. I've been highlighting and tabbing the shit out of it, and I'm only about 50% of the way in. And I've had so many like come to Jesus moments where I feel super seen and heard and validated. And I know that's not necessarily like what I should look for in books all the time, but in this kind of book, it offers a huge level of comfort. And this book is an interesting mix of like statistics and data and research, but then also case studies of her. She's like a psychotherapist, life coach kind of person. So case studies with her patients or clients rather, and then a little bit of memoir of like her life and why she's interested in this, how her quarter life was, all of that. So you really get a mix of information, which I think helps it be a lot more impactful. I think the case studies are huge because it's like these are real humans that went through the same thing, and there's something that's so comforting about the things that make you feel alone end up being the things that are most universal. This book has been a huge proponent of that, and there's been a lot of really great, I don't know if advice or tips or instructions, what the right word is. It feels very implementable. Is that a word? It feels very poignant and it feels very realistic and sort of directed, but also broad. That was a lot of ways to describe it, but I feel like it's very effective and I've been really enjoying it. It is short, but it is taking me a while to get through because I just have to like sit there in silence sometimes after reading something because I'm like, whoa, really packs a punch, baby. Hey. And then the other reading update I have is that I started a new fiction book, which is Just Like Mother by Anne Heltzel. This is sort of a horror book, I believe is the genre it's categorized in. This girl grew up in a cult and then ends up reuniting with her cousin who now is involved in like this rich, elite, weird, seemingly cultish situation. It's very haunting and weird and unsettling already. I'm on page 106 and I'm really enjoying it so far. I just started this last night, so I've definitely made a dent in it. It's hard to put down. Very character driven because there's a lot of trauma and history involved, some of which we already know and some we haven't unearthed yet. I'm excited to continue it. Sort of fits into that like unhinged female main character genre that I've talked about. I got it on Book Outlet for like $3 or $4, so it's a bargain and a banger, baby. Anyway, those are my reading updates. All right, this has got to come off. She's hurting. That is it. I hope it stops raining so I can walk the dogs so they're not crazy inside all day. Hey, people. Shawn Mendes never fails to be quotable. I will tell you that. Life-changing. Ow! I just stepped on glass. Quite literally. Glass. We have reading updates. It is Wednesday, November 6th. We obviously found out election results this morning, so it's been a little bit of a tough day, but I focused on doing things that bring me joy, which is reading, hanging out with the dogs I'm dog sitting, spending time outside, and I had all my little cousins over for game night, and we had pizza, and we laughed a lot, and acted like kids, and amidst all the scariness, I think like those little pockets of joy are super important. I also am going to be a lazy bitch and grab a bar stool. Don't look at the mess on the counter. Shut up. You saw nothing. Oh yeah, that's pretty comfy. However, I do need to grab the other books that I have. Okay, quite literally, that's a bra. I'm making a mess of everything right now, even though it already is a mess. I'll tell you, deleting social media and also having living in the middle of nowhere will do wonders for your reading. It's crazy. Who would have thunk it? Finished yesterday. I believe I already talked about it. Quarter Life. Amazing book. Exactly what I needed, what I wanted. Huge thumbs up. Would definitely recommend if you're looking for that kind of book and that kind of comfort. And it's not just for the stereotypical quarter life, like they say 25 is quarter life. Bitch, I'm not living to 100. Are you kidding? I'm already struggling to get out of bed. My knees and my back are aching. The other book that I just finished today is Just Like Mother by Anne Heltzel. Hey, it was amazing. It was so good. It felt just super unsettling the whole time. It felt really uncomfortable, but in such a engaging way. Obviously, huge cult themes, huge cult plot line. It's interesting too because a lot of this book had to do, well, not a lot of it, it all revolved around motherhood, being a mother, having children, and the stereotype of women existing to make babies. And that added to the uncomfortability because that is not something that I ever desire, want, or hope to achieve. That is not something that I want in my life. I mean, I will say, I feel not to toot my own horn, but I've read so many horror and thriller books that it's pretty hard to get me with plot twists now because to a certain extent, it's a little bit formulated. I tried to sound smart and it didn't really work out. I feel to a certain point, you have to understand what A and B are to get to C, and it just becomes a little bit repetitive. So I was able to guess most of it. Maybe it wasn't right early on, but as the book was going, I was oh, this is going to happen and this is going to be revealed and this person did this and this person is in cahoots with this person. However, there was a little bit of a twist at the end that I wasn't expecting. Speaking of the end, one thing I will say is it's a little bit open-ended, not necessarily a cliffhanger, but if you don't like books that don't have a 100% definitive ending and it leaves it open for interpretation a little bit, you might not like the ending. However, I think the rest of the book is totally worth it, even if you don't get 100% of what you want out of the ending. Long story short, I really enjoyed this book. Now I have officially finished both of the books, the nonfiction and fiction that I was currently reading, so it's time to pick new books. I went to my apartment today and got the books that I have out on audio, as I've talked about, either maybe in this vlog or maybe it was just the weekend readathon, but you'll come to find this about me. I'm in a stage where my attention span has just been torn to shreds by TikTok and various other social media platforms, so I cannot read a book unless I am listening to the audio and reading the physical book at the same time. I have a couple book options to read. Nonfiction, Off With Her Head, 3,000 Years of Demonizing Women in Power. This feels very apt, maybe a little too real right now. Holly by Stephen Black. There's no way I just mixed up Stephen King and Holly Black. There's no way. This is, I believe, either his newest or at least one of his newer books. And it is a horror book that's gotten really good reviews. Power of Habit, another nonfiction option. This feels like something that would be very good because I've been struggling with consistency. I mean, my whole life, but especially recently over the summer, I got into really good habits and routines. And then I got into a little bit of a rut, threw me off of all of my habits and routines. And I'm really struggling to get back there. So this might be a super good read, very conducive to change. We'll see. The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley, however you say it. I feel like her books are definitely hit or miss for me. This one isn't really rated super high. I feel like it's one of her lower rated books. However, I'm open to it. Next, I have Yellowface by Rebecca F. Kwan. This is one I've been meaning to read forever, so I'm kind of leaning towards this for my fiction. Maybe I'll read 2 fiction books at once. Who knows? I'm a crazy girl. Then we have Let Me Tell You What I Mean. Why did I stutter so bad? By Joan Didion. I love Miss Joan Didion. This one is tiny. I think the audiobook's 4 hours, and I can listen to that bitch on 2.5 speed. So I also have My Mess is a Bit of Life by Georgia Pritchett. This I got on Blackwell's. I've never seen this in the US. It's a memoir / funny, silly, goofy book. And then I have The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F by Mark Manson, which is such a old book. Like at this point, I feel like everyone has read it and the people who haven't just have zero interest in it. I have a slight interest in it. I feel like I wouldn't call myself a self-help connoisseur, but I read a lot of self-help books because baby, I got problems. I don't got back, but I do got problems. This one is one that I literally have had on my bookshelf forever, and I feel like I need to just bite the bullet and read it and get it over with. Long story short, those are my book options. That's my update for today. I feel a little bit nervous. This is the closest to public vlogging that I've ever gotten. And mind you, I'm like 200 feet away from like 2 people. It's really not a big deal. I also have to be incredibly strategic about where my nog is because if I move it, she's getting blown out. It sounded kind of weird, huh? It is my lunch break. I came to the park. Work has been a little bit stressful today. Ooh. And obviously everything in the world. So I felt like I needed just a little sec to be in nature. And the fun thing, the really fun thing, really sad fact about the park / beach that I'm at is that I don't get service, baby. My phone gone. It really forces me to disconnect and just like exist by myself, which I feel like I exist physically by myself a lot, but not mentally. This is a place where I can come and just be like, it's 100% solitude other than, you know, the people over there. But long story short, I shoved a whole bag of jelly beans up. I'll probably read, otherwise I might genuinely either just sit here and listen to music or sit in dead silence because sometimes we need that. Sometimes the world just gets so loud. But whilst I'm here, I thought I would give you a reading update because I've made a decent chunk of reading progress in multiple books. First of all, we'll start with one that I've been on and off reading, and you all know and love Tracy Wolf, Baby Crush. Vampires, spiders, not spiders, werewolves. Oh my, it's going fine. I'm about like 45% of the way in. This is definitely a spoiler, so like skip ahead if you're not interested. I'm sensing a little it's gonna be a romance situation similar to A Court of Thorn and Roses series or Red Queen. I think there's gonna be a little bit of a love triangle, a little bit of a switch up. All right, here's my theory. I'm going full theory mode, and this is like gonna be a huge spoiler. I think Jackson is gonna turn out to be the bad guy, and Hudson's gonna be the good guy, and Grace is gonna fall in love with Hudson, and then Hudson's gonna have to fight Jackson to like save the world. Similar pretty much exactly to Tamlin, Rhysand, Feyre of it all. You know what I mean? I think there's going to be some like switcherooskies here. That's what I'm anticipating. However, I could be overthinking and completely wrong. Perhaps Jackson is 100% good and Hudson is just a lying bitch. The odds of that are pretty high, but Grace keeps talking about Hudson's abs and like sexy eyes. Something's gonna happen. Maybe she likes herself a bad boy. As do we all. Oh, there's a spider on my leg. Sweet. The other books that I'm reading are The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. This is one that's been on my TBR for so long, and I was nervous to read it because I felt like it was just gonna be annoying. I loved Atomic Habits, right? But there's only so many books you can take saying like, just set goals, just make routines, just make habits. I'm loving this one, baby. If you liked Atomic Habits, or even if you didn't, honestly, I'd say give this one a shot. I think this is a really interesting book because it's at least whoa, I'm only 37 pages in, so we're still fresh, we're still new, we're still very demure, very mindful, very cutesy. Thus far, it's a really nice balance between, well, right now we're really just in the setup phase. I'm talking about this like it's fiction. It's not. Right now he's giving some case studies and it's very neurological, very much neuroscience. It's not necessarily like, here's what goals are, here's how to set them, here's what they can do for you. It's like, here's these literal case studies of how much our brain is built for habits, how much our brains are built for routine and for continuously doing the same things that are good for us. We just have to figure out how to like activate and get to that part of our brain because it's available to everyone. It's like a very well-rounded book that's giving studies, facts, personal anecdotes, I would say. Like there's emotion in it. And I know at some point we're going to get to a point where it's going to be very step 1, 2, 3, baby. Let's do this. And I'm excited for that part. The other book that I'm reading, and I've gotten pretty far in between last night and this morning because I woke up at 5:30 in the morning, is The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. I gotta switch sides, my butt hurts. Okay, so back to The Paris Apartment. This is very much the same style that Lucy always does, where we have multiple POVs, multiple characters. I do love it. I do love a multiple character POV, as well as in the audiobook, they have different people narrating each different person, which just makes the book so much more fun. But I'm on page 128. Let me set the scene. We have our main character, Jess, who, I mean, they're all main characters, but she's like really the person that's gonna be, you know, doing a lot of the digging, if you know what I mean. What's going on right now? She goes to visit her half-brother who, like I said, moved to Paris and is in these like pretty eerie like apartments. There's a lot of weirdos, not even weirdos, but just very sussy baka. Ew. Just, you know, suspect characters. And on the back it says the socialite, the nice guy, the alcoholic, the girl on the verge, the concierge. Everyone's a neighbor, everyone's a suspect, and everyone knows something they're not telling. See you in Paris. Yeah, baby, you will see me. You've been seeing me for 128 pages. I don't know why I'm acting like this. He's not answering his phone, not answering the door, not answering texts, calls, social media stuff, nothing. She starts meeting all these neighbors, and obviously like a lot of them are weird. Some of them, as she said, the nice guy are nice. And she's trying to piece together like where Ben is, what kind of relationship he has with these people, like what happened to him, and things start becoming really weird, and like it's very abundantly clear that things happened to Ben. And there's a couple chapters, I think there's only been 1 or 2, maybe 3 flashbacks to Ben, like the night before Jess came, so it's like quote unquote the night he disappeared. We don't really know 100% what happened to Ben, where he is, his involvement, his relationships. We're like slowly piecing that together, but so far I really like it. I feel like Lucy's books are always just so easy to read and so fast paced because each chapter is not that long and it's a different POV, so it's like bing bang boom. I honestly have no clue where this is gonna go. I have 24 minutes left on my lunch break, and then I have to get back to the house to work. Get me on my head to my feet. I'm ready to die. I obviously, as you saw, read at the park over my lunch break for a while, and then my social plans for tonight ended up not coming to fruition. So I have spent the night reading. It's almost 9 o'clock, it's 8:57, and I literally have had my ass parked in this chair for like since I got off of work. I've gotten up here and there to like take the dogs for a walk, eat dinner, whatnot, but other than that, my ass print is embedded in this couch right now. And speaking of ass, this dog just farted. It reeks. Oh my god. What did you eat? The book that I finished is The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. Again, I don't know how to say it. Hey guys, I loved it. I enjoyed it so much. It was a very interesting thriller because, sorry, that was gross. It had a lot of themes and tropes built into it. There was family drama, unlocking secrets, hidden past. There was obviously huge reveals on like who was involved, how were they involved, what happened, what we think happened. Is that actually what happened or was it something else? But we were all crazy shit. Honestly, I will say I guessed some of the plot lines and some of the reveals, but for the most part, it kept unraveling more and more. It was like this snowball effect where the secrets and the mystery of it all kept getting bigger and bigger and more complex, and I really enjoyed it. I think it was a really dynamic cast of characters, which was really fun to read about. I'm really talking with my hands tonight. Yeah, I really liked our main character, Jess. I think she's a super flawed, but also quality character, and I think kind of having that dichotomy of like the good and the bad really played into this story. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Honestly, I'd say it's been one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Lucy Foley book so far, which I don't know, I feel like I'm a little bit off the norm here because I feel like The Paris Apartment didn't have the best reviews, but I really enjoyed it. I guess I'm just not like the other girl. I'm kidding, I love being like the other girls. Anyway, it's only 9 o'clock. The night is still young. I have an hour before I need to go to bed. I definitely am gonna keep reading. This is the thing, I'm a little concerned about burnout. I feel like I've been reading at a super fast pace, at least for me. But the thing that's really spiked that is A, I've been reading books I like, but also B, I have deleted my social media. I went back on social media. Well, when I say I'm not on social media, I mean I'm not consuming it. I'm still posting, but I just am not consuming because I'm not like in a mental space where that's a good thing for me, especially TikTok. When you don't have social media, and I'm not really a huge movie or TV person. I mean, there's other hobbies I could do like coloring books or painting or whatever, but like ultimately media wise, what I'm consuming other than music and podcasts, books are the only other thing. So it's like, what else do I do with my time? Like right now, I know I can clean and I can do all these things, but like if I want to sit here and do something and I don't have social media and I don't have a phone and I don't have social plans, reading just makes the most sense. So I just end up reading all the time, but I really want to be cognizant because I don't want to burn myself out. I don't want to get into another reading slump like I did. But in terms of a nonfiction, I felt like this would be a little bit lower maintenance of a reading experience, and that's Let Me Tell You What I Mean by Joan Didion. Also, this is such a short book. It's pretty large font, not that you can see from 80 feet away, and it's less than 200 pages. So low-key, if I really wanted, I probably could finish this tonight in one sitting, but I'm not gonna push myself to do that. I really want to take it in. Happy Friday! It's finally Friday. I feel like I've been waiting for this day all week, and I try not to live my life waiting for the weekend, but this week was just a little much. I just got home. Our boss let us off a little bit early today. She said, you guys have all put in a shit ton of work, log off a little bit early, and you best believe I took her up on that. I went and met my cousins and we went to a little like art studio, and I was thinking we were gonna actually throw pottery, like make it, but they had pre-made stuff and then you got to paint it and then they'll glaze it and throw it in the kiln and fire it. Come inside! Hold on. I also am wearing a sweater vest and not really sure how I feel about it. In fact, I'm leaning towards not a fan. So we painted pottery. I did a little like mushroom house and then you can put a tea light in it, which it's gonna be so cute and I'm so excited about it. That was really fun and very therapeutic. I did that and then we went and walked around one of the little towns near us into a few shops, and I did get some things, and my things I literally just got, they're greeting cards, but I'm gonna use them as like wall art. I got this one of Frida Kahlo winking. I think it's so cute, $5. And then I got this one. And then I just got back to feed the dogs and I'm gonna hang out with them for a little bit, spend some time with them. And then I'm going back over to my family's house, not back, but to my family's house, my like aunt, uncle, and cousins. And we're gonna have dinner. We're getting takeout from like a German place near us, which is really delicious. They have like schnitzel and stroganoff and all that. And they have a really good burger with sauerkraut and like this honey mustard sauce. Absolutely delicious. Am I going to shit myself afterwards? Absolutely. But that's just, you know, you win some, you lose some. I did want to give a little reading update. We made some progress this morning. I haven't read a ton because I was working all day and then immediately after work went and did that, and then I just got back. So I was up early though, so I did get a good chunk of reading done. I got Let Me Tell You What I Mean by Joan Didion, as I mentioned. Super, super fast and easy read. As I said, it's a collection of 12 essays. Each one is super different, which I think helps add to how fast it reads. I did write some some notes in my phone. This is gonna be a common theme. I have a really hard time summarizing thoughts at the end of a book. I really like to write down my thoughts during and then be able to reference those after. I only have a couple notes on this. Like I said, it was pretty short. Every essay is so vastly different that it really feels like a stream of consciousness, which I love. I think it's really nice when essay collections have structure and have like a theme or a grouping of topics or just a topic that's written about in a multitude of ways, but I also really love when it almost feels a little bit diary or journal-esque. I love getting to know people. I love picking people's brains and understanding how they think and why they think and what they think about. And this is the kind of book that really feeds that. The other note that I wrote is didn't love all of the essays, but I enjoyed the collection as a whole. I think there were some that just like didn't hit as hard for me, and that's okay. I never go into any sort of, whether it's short stories or essays, I never go in thinking I'm gonna like every single one, because statistically that's just really not plausible. I think it was very interesting mix of like cultural criticisms, analyses, personal anecdotes, personal experiences, and just a ton of stuff. So definitely give this a read. Like I said, it's super quick and I did a lot of underlining and whatnot. The other book that I've obviously continued and obviously have been talking about is The Power of Habit by Charlie Duhigg. I have some thickum notes right here that I wrote about it. I got to page 97 and I think I was only in the 30s before, so a decent chunk done. This is what I wrote, let me tell you. I love the inclusion of case studies, especially ones that have shown to be successful and clearly show the impact of habit. I will say specifically the ones about marketing for product show how deeply psychology is involved in consumerism, and it's kind of sad. Obviously we know that, but to read about it in such a detailed way, I was like, oh, how are we on a floating ball of dirt and water, and this is what we're doing. The last note that I wrote is I do think it's cool how each case study is from a different industry, so I feel like it allows space for all different kinds of people to take the information and interpret it based on something that they enjoy or that they know about. So there was medical and neuroscience, there was marketing, sports, individual people, addiction, etc., all represented in these different case studies. And I think that's really cool because everyone can get something different out of it and everyone can kind of latch on to whatever one impacted them the most. Overall, I'm really enjoying this and I feel okay about kind of taking my time with this and not rushing. I obviously have a pretty big chunk left. I've been underlining and writing notes in the margins so much and I can't wait to implement this into my own life. Going into the end of 2024 and into obviously 2025, which is a terrifying thing to say. I really want habits and routine to be a focus for me, and I think I've given them a bad connotation in my head because so much of your 20s is you're pressed to like have spontaneity and adventure, but habit can also be a beautiful thing. Monotony can also be a beautiful thing. So trying to find a balance. But yeah, that's it. I'm gonna spend some time with the pup and then go over for dinner, hang out there for a while. I think I said this earlier, but I'm probably gonna end this vlog pretty soon. So maybe tomorrow, and then I'll maybe start a new one Sunday. Merry Christmas to you. Yeah. Hi! How are we doing? Right now is probably a time where I should be using my voice memo, but I have notes on my phone that I want to read and my phone's gonna die. So you are simply getting vocal projections, baby. Anyways, it's Saturday. Happy Saturday, everyone. Today has been a long but also short day. I feel like I look bricked up. That's not the correct terminology for what I was meaning. I feel like I just look boxy and large, but that's okay. I literally barely did anything today. Here's the agenda. Woke up at 5:45 in the morning, read, had stomach issues, took the dogs here for a walk, had stomach issues mid-walk and had to sprint home. Made it in time. Took the dogs out again to try to get them for a walk. Came back, read some more, went to my apartment because I had to grab a couple things. I grabbed my laptop, my personal laptop, so that I can start editing the readathon vlog and this vlog. Then I went to the grocery store to pick up a few things. Then I went to let out another dog that I always let out. And then I came back here and I haven't left since. Did in fact accidentally fall asleep. Reading whilst horizontal is never a good idea for me, even if it's a book I like. I'm out like a light. So I'm here to provide you with my last thoughts on the progress I made today, and then I'm gonna cut this vlog off because I know that this bitch is gonna be long. We have thoughts on existing books I was already reading and thoughts on a new book that I started reading. Let's start with what we've already been reading. Crush, Tracy Wolff. We know her. We sometimes love her, sometimes just are infuriated by her. Nothing too crazy has happened. There's been a few action-packed events, but nothing crazy. However, I did write down some notes. One is that the unironic use of true dat was a bit of a jump scare. And then my other comment is that Hudson is so fucking funny and out of pocket and kind of a dirty dog. Speaking of dogs, here they come in all their glory. I can hear them coming through the doggy door right now. Other book I've continued, Power of Habit. Nothing really new to say. Still really enjoying it. I will say they've started bringing out additional case studies in other industries and other like sectors and areas of life. So we are just like broadening the scope here, which I really like. And they're starting to get into a little bit more tangible how-to. Still not, I think, to the full capacity that it will, but loving her. I made it to page 154. And then the last book is a new one that I started. This looks so dumb, but I'm scared you can see my gooch. The new book that I started is My Mess is a Bit of Life by Georgia Pritchett. I always feel weird reviewing memoirs because I understand that you can be critical of quality of writing, the editing or lack thereof, like all the logistic things, but it still feels weird to me because I'm like, who am I to critique someone's life story? I do have some notes written down about this and I'm gonna read them verbatim. I feel very conflicted on this book because objectively the writing is pretty funny, and in a relatively short book she manages to hit on so many topics and experiences, but I think that's a little bit where the book didn't fully connect with me. I love essay collections and books with short chapters, however the format of this memoir was really tough for me. And I say was as if I'm done. I'm not yet. I'm probably like 50% of the way through. Each chapter was literally anywhere between 2 sentences and 2 pages, and it didn't feel like there was any specific timeline or flow from beginning to end, and that's not a bad thing per se. I think it's just a format that doesn't work with my brain and how I read. I think for this book, and honestly memoirs in general, I really would have enjoyed each chapter to be a bit more fleshed out. Like I said, the writing is very quirky, very quick, very funny. I can tell that Georgia would be hilarious in person. It's just not hitting as hard as I hoped. I feel like because obviously the whole book is going to be written the same way, I don't know that this is really going to go up in enjoyability for me. Anyway, that's that. Those are my reading updates, and that brings us to the end of this vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed. I am honestly really enjoying filming these reading vlogs. It is pushing me to read more and also pushing me to think more about what I'm reading, how I'm reading. I feel like it's also been super fun that, you know, even though I'm not talking to a person, I'm able to like verbalize my thoughts and feelings on these books because I don't really have any readers in my life. Most of what I read, I don't really have anyone to talk about it with, so it's nice to be able to even just talk out loud to myself. I was gonna say I'm gonna cook some dinner, but it's only 4:45. I keep thinking it's like 8 p.m. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll be seeing you in the next vlog. So yeah, have a good day everyone. Sending you my love and support in this crazy time that we call life, and hope you're reading some good books.